Joe, we are back at the Pitch Pod. How you doing?
Jeff, I'm doing well. As always, excited to be a part of this. Quick conversation about our last match. I have to go up and just say it. You hitting the ring dinger again. I don't know who's logging in, who's checking out the Pitch Pod, but they need to recognize you're hitting these marks. You're picking the winners. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's what I do. I hit ring dingers here at the pod. Thank you, Joe, for that shout out. So looking ahead, we are going to cover a pretty important match, a really, really important match, I should say, Coventry and Luton Town. But before we go there, let's go ahead and review our previous match that we covered here at the pod, Joe. It was a big Champions League second leg. It was AC Milan versus Inter. And that was quite a game. I did hit the ring dinger, as you said. Thank you for that shout out. Martinez with the goal. But just some quick thoughts. What did you think of the match?
Well, going into it, we knew it was going to take a lot for AC Milan to crawl back from the 2-0 deficit to get level and to continue on. And so for Inter to score, go ahead, it was just even made it more difficult to see them possibly going through. So I think it's a good performance for them. I mean, it's a place to get them set up. I don't know if anybody else has them as favorites to beat Manchester City in the final, but I think they've had a respectable enough run. There's a reason why they're there to suggest that. I mean, that's what, again, why we're playing. I don't think that anybody should just suggest that Manchester City is going to show up and beat these guys. So I think that's my major takeaway. Is it's still a respectable side that could possibly give Manchester City a challenge and possibly win it.
Yeah, I think, it was a great match from start to finish, well contested. Inter coming out in their standard formation, the 3-5-2, and it was effective. Martinez with his goal. I mean, those were the main highlights. The great Argentinian player, Martinez, I'm referring to. But my man of the match may surprise you. It is someone who did not start the game, came on in the 66th minute, and once you know it, if the only goal of the game happened roughly 6, 7, maybe 8 minutes after he entered the game and stepped on the field. So my man of the match is Lukaku.
I can see that. Yeah, an impact player where he was able. I mean, that type of player comes on, then it shifts the opposition's focus, and quite possibly how and why Martinez was able to find himself in a position to go ahead and score. And again, of course, going in and winning or scoring that goal and for the win to continue on. I think that's a great. For me, Martinez, I mean, it's a game about scoring goals, so I have to give him the man of the match. But I think Lukaku's a fair nod, fair shout out to him.
Yeah. And before Lukaku entered the game, it was clear Martinez was the guy. He had several chances and almost scored, without assistance. So that makes sense to me as well. Looking ahead, Joe, can you talk to the significance of this match that we're going to cover today? It's obviously Coventry versus Luton Town. Can you tell everyone out there that's tuning in, why we choose to cover this match?
I don't think it's an understatement to suggest that maybe this is the biggest match the Pitch Pod has covered, in a sense that we're talking about the championship promotion playoffs final between Coventry and Luton Town. Winner goes on to feature themselves in the English Premier League. I've heard it before. I think it's a cliche almost, but I think it's worth mentioning. I mean, this is £100 million match. I mean, the implications of the financial rewards that go along with this, aside from them moving up, and again, these are two well-established clubs, but it's been years since they found themselves in the first division of English football. So this is massive in a sense that winner goes on to feature next year in the English Premier League. This is an exciting match for everybody. I think everybody should be tuning in to see how this one turns out.
Yeah, I think you set that up perfectly and the significance of it. So those that aren't as familiar, the English Premier League, the teams at the bottom of it, and Joe, correct me if I misspeak here, but the bottom teams end up getting regulated into leagues that are below it. And then the top teams of the second tier league that's happening right now. They get promoted to the EPL, which I think you referred to there, has not only just, it's great for the fans, the supporters to rally around their local clubs, but also there's a whole lot of monetary compensation and funding and contracts. So like you said, millions of dollars are on the line with this game, not just the pride of playing in the top league, but also the monetary aspect of it. So did I cover that correctly, or did I misspeak a little bit? That's my understanding.
Jeff, you're talking about promotion relegation. You're talking about the way that football is structured in most, if not all, the rest of the world, minus a couple small pockets. We won't get too far into the structure here in the States, not necessarily in the first division featuring that, but I think we have to suggest again that this is why the draw in this sport is so significant. You talked about it, not necessarily even the financial gains, but what that means for community, what that means for people that support a club, that lifelong supporters of a club, having the opportunity now after multiple years facing the opportunity to go up to the top tier. This is where those players, those managers, those supporters have an opportunity to put themselves into a competition that we've talked about all year. The English Premier League is the top tier, the top league in this world. So this is a contest where these two clubs respectively get the opportunity to do so. So I think it's absolutely massive. And it's, like you said, promotion, relegation, the winner here in this promotion playoff final for the championship will find themselves in the English Premier League next year.
Yeah, that's exciting stuff. And I believe the last couple matchups with these two teams, it actually ended in a draw. And so they're two evenly matched teams, which makes this competition even more exciting. And so that's something else to look forward to, is we know we can expect a good game coming into this. But Joe,
you're right.
Do you have any initial thoughts going into this match before we make our predictions? Because I think I have mine.
I think it's worth, again, you mentioned it, both teams in the previous contest within the league play were draws. One was 1-1, the other was 2-2. So there should be really a important competition in the sense that, from perspective of looking at what they did before, it's really difficult to say, well, one's going to show up and dominate the other. Now, with that being said, you're looking at a Luton Town that finished actually third with 80 points versus a fifth place Coventry with 70. Have to go back and look at some, don't want to get caught up in all that too often, look at previous matches, see how they did against one. It was different times of the season, different outcomes that went along the way. But with all that being said, I do have to give the nod to Luton Town with having those 80 points, with finishing third, to more than likely go through and win this. Could it be required extra time? Could penalty kicks be the call? I think if I had my way, Jeff, that would be what I would pick Luton Town to win this in penalties after a 1-1 regulation time. So I'm going to go Luton Town winning this in penalties.
Well, that would be fun to watch, Joe. I would love that too. My prediction, it's a little bit different in this in the score line, but as far as the winner, it's pretty similar in that respect. So I got Luton winning this 1-0, close contest, but I do not have them going on into extra time. I think regulation will be enough for Luton. And I think their goal scorer is probably going to be one of their consistent goal scorers throughout the year. I think it's going to be Tom Lockyer. Don't ask me how, don't ask me when, but that's just what my gut feeling is Tom Lockyer is going to show up and Luton's going to win this in regulation 1-0.
I won't ask you when, I won't ask you how, but how big would that be if it's a late goal for them? I mean, can you imagine that? I mean, we're talking about Wembley Stadium. We're talking about a packed Wembley Stadium. Again, supporters from both teams and others, neutrals, again, that draw this type of contest. I think we all have to, whether it's that way, whether it's whichever way, I think we all have to be excited about this match. Those of us that follow football with our hearts and have a lot of desire to see how this turns out is going to be tuned in to see this result.
Yeah, you said it. It doesn't get bigger than this. It doesn't get more exciting than this. Yeah, it's going to be a great match at Wembley Stadium, as you stated. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the content. If you do, please hit that like, hit that subscribe, leave a comment. Joe and I, we have some free time and we're looking to start dialogue here with you. So leave a comment. We'll get back to you. But that's the best way to support us here at the Pitch Pod. we hope everyone gets a chance to tune into the match and enjoy it. And as always, keep pitching out there, everyone.
In a game, the round ball, round posts, anything can happen.